Hoka hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita live stream of March the 29th, 2024. Alita's best moments in the movie and the manga, where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Creek Indian, and I am about a little bit south of Boone, North Carolina today. But before we get to, introducing our guests here, and we'll probably have a couple more coming on later. Well, no, I guess we will. Oh, there we go, right there. That's what I was after. Yeah, we have Rosa Salazar's Queen Studios bust, and that thing is sitting in my house right now. So, well, not in the house I'm in now, but the house in Colorado. And it's still in the box. It has not been disturbed. And if Rosa gets wind of this somehow, I hope she knows that we desperately want to present this to her as an expression of our admiration and our appreciation, for her work. And the Alita Army really loves Rosa. So we definitely want to give her this as an award. For us, it's like giving her an Oscar. And we think it's better than an Oscar because it is a bust of Alita. So anyway, there you have that. And from Fountain, Colorado, we have Lee. How's it going, Lee?
Hey, pretty good.
So right now it's just Lee and I. So I don't think Blotty's going to make it today because I think he's traveling. He's going to be with family, I believe, and Angelus, I'm not sure. Angelus may have to work today, so I'm not sure about that one. So anyway, but we're going to press on no matter what. We invited several people, and probably we'll get a couple more on. Before we get started on the main topic, I just wanted to let everyone know that we still got our Alita sequel petition that's still active, and we got over 178,000 signatures on that sucker. So there's the link. You can see that below the image on your screen there, and it's also in the description below this screen. So if you click on that thing and go, if you have not signed yet, you click on it, and you want to to sign it. It's not a big deal. You don't have to donate any money or anything like that. You can just click on it and sign it if you have not. Now, I am so sure that everybody on this stream has already signed it, but if the future people have not signed this thing yet, so we'd love for you to go do that. And it looks like we got Smendrick 19 out there in the chat. B. Gates, Smendrick 19, ich hoffe, Sie haben ein gutes Wochenende. And, and we just want to make sure that you have a fun time on the stream today. We also got Bad Man out there in Sin of Sanity. Whoa, Sin of Sanity, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Hope you're doing well. And, it's been quite a while since I've seen you. So it's good to have you back there, Sin of Sanity. So anyway, that's our Alita sequel petition. And we also got the Hero Arm campaign going on right now, and we got a little bit more money in it. So we got something like, I don't know. Well, you see $2,780 in there, and now in the bank we actually have more than that. We have something like a little bit over $4,200. I'm not sure exactly how much, if you count what we have in the Hero Arm campaign as well. So we're moving right along financially there to maybe get someone, some deserving individual that some amputee that needs a Hero Arm. We want to make sure that they get that. They're less fortunate than us, and certainly we want them to get one of these Hero Arms. Now, what you see on the screen below there is that's the link that you can click on. It's down in the description below the screen there, and click on that. You can no amount's too small, so don't think you got to put $200 or $300 or anything like that in there. If you can just put $1 in there, that'll be great. We'd be certainly appreciative of it. There's also a tip jar down there. If you find this website to be maybe a little bit too intimidating or something like that, then you can click on the tip jar, and it'll also every dime of this money is going to go into the Hero Arm campaign. So, any thoughts, Lee, about either the Hero Arm campaign and the sequel?
No, not really.
Except
I think you covered it.
Yeah, I think you accept that you want a sequel, right? Just like the rest
Yes.
of us. Yes, that's right. Okay, well, let's chat a little bit about Alita's best movie moments. Now, we're not going to be able to play any of the movie on there because if we do that, we're going to probably get yeeted. So we don't want to do that at all. But you know, especially those first four right there, we do have you know, some visuals there. But you know, the Creek's favorite scene. Well, let me rephrase this. To me, every scene with Alita in it is my favorite scene. So, and I am so sure I don't have everything on here that I need to have on here. You know, because I ran out of space on the slide, as it were.
Yeah.
But we all know, and I think most of you know, that what Creek's favorite scene is, and as Lita Calligridis once she asked me what her favorite scene was, and that's what I picked, that very first bullet. So fuck your mercy. So you know, there you have it. You know. Also, we you know, another scene that I really liked that really started to hook me, you know, in terms of you know, loving the movie and loving the character and the whole thing behind it would be her waking up. What was neat about that is the first time I saw the movie, my reaction when I saw her open her eyes was I was like, oh my God, how pretty is that? You know, or something like that. I don't know my exact thoughts, you know, obviously, but that was my general reaction. You know, I went, holy crap, that is really nice, you know, what they did there. And of course, that scene where she balances on one finger, you know, that was really cool. I really like that as well. And of course, I like her finally getting rid of Gruishka. You know, Gruishka was kind of a, well, he was kind of a dick, I guess. So anyway, so we wanted to get rid of him, you know, pretty good, you know. But there's some other scenes there you can see on the screen. You know, some people knock the movie as not being having that good a love story. You know, I kind of disagree. I mean, I think it's. I thought it was pretty nice, you know. You know, now was it Romeo and Juliet? You know, probably not, you know, but it was okay. You know, I kind of enjoyed that. And then, of course, Zapan getting his comeuppance. She kind of messed with him twice, didn't she? And you know, the whole motorball stuff. You know, of course, I like motorball quite a bit. You know,
Yeah.
and to me, motorball spoke to me the kind of the same way that rollerball. I don't know if you remember that 1973 film.
Yeah, I saw it many years ago.
Oh yeah, that's really good, you know. And we actually did a Radio Chaos stream on that about how rollerball and motorball were similar in some regards.
Yep.
But yeah, there's the creeks. Now, Lee, is there anything up there? I know there's a lot up there, and you you probably, I might have stole some of your thunder, but is there anything else that maybe you can think of as some of your favorite movie moments?
Yeah, that really comes to mind or jumps out at me or anything, but it might come up later.
Yeah. Well, what we can do here is we can go ahead and move to the Creek's favorite scene. And as you guys remember,
Actually, there is one.
Okay.
When Alita just got embodied into her Berserker, and Ito is lying on the couch when she leans down to just kiss him on the cheek. I really
Oh
like that because
yeah,
it was like a really warm sort of family moment there kind of
yeah,
thing.
that was a real sweet, wasn't it? I mean, it's
Mhm.
pretty neat, you know. I mean, a killing machine
Mhm.
leaning over to give him a peck on the cheek. That was kind of funny, you know, to me.
Really
You
seemed
know,
to sort of solidify their relationship as, you know, family there to me a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah, cool. By the way, Alita Rave, are you out there? Are you signed in as Dagmar Elmer? That's pretty good. So anyway, all right. Anything else you can think of there, Lee?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, anyway, here's the you know, here's the Creek's favorite scene right here. You know, is that you know, when Alita, you know, and we all know this, all of us have seen the movie for sure, but you know, she kind of follows Grishka down there into the underworld, you know, through the hole in the floor he put, you know, in the Kansas bar. So, and of course, you know, she throws. Sometimes I wouldn't call this impulsive. I don't know about you, Lee, because I think at that point, I mean, maybe it was kind of impulsive, but because she didn't really know what she was getting into by following him, but it wasn't impulsive into the to the point where you know she had just seen uh, you know Grishka shoot those grind cutters at Ito, and of course Hugo kind of pulled him out of the way, you know.
Well, I think
And
at
I,
this point she had already decided on the course of action was going to be to track down Garushka and take care of him before he could do anything to them. So
yeah,
she'd already settled on that as a course of action. So it may have been a bit impulsive to just jump into the hole the way she did, but I think her
yeah.
course of action had already been set before then.
Well, I mean, I think she also perceived that you know that her, you know, people that she loved are being threatened, you know, and
Mhm.
that's a no for our girl. You can't threaten
Yep.
the people she cares about. She's gonna, I mean, she's gonna come after your ass if you do that, you know.
Mhm.
So, but anyway, yeah, that's I agree. I don't think she was maybe a little impulsive because, like, say, you know, there's that old Sun Tzu saying, you know, that you have to know your enemy as well
Mhm.
as you know yourself, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, never fight on your enemy's terms.
That's
She ended up
exactly right.
fighting on Garushka's terms.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, she was in that doll body, which is not, you know, it's not a powerful body in terms of,
Yeah, it was not a combat body.
yeah, it's not, you know, and it doesn't come anywhere near, you know, what I guess what her berserker body or probably even her, well, definitely not her. I guess what that tuned body is not that, or
Mhm.
certainly not as powerful as the Imaginos body. You know,
Yeah,
it's probably on the same scale as the civilian body was in the manga. You know, probably. You know,
more than likely.
yeah, something like that. But it wasn't. Well, now she did pretty well in a civilian body when she fought Zapan, did she, or Zerkerpan? So she did that for sure. You know, but you know, we all know the story. She goes down there, she fights him. Of course, she had actually kind of kicked his ass the first time she met him, you know, in the alley, you know,
Mhm.
and cleaved off one of his arms and, you know, just kind of hit him with that rocket hammer, you know, to the point where it kind of broke some of his insides, I think, at least according to the novelization, it did, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was in no shape to fight, you know, even though he's still bigger than her. I mean, you know, that's one of the things about in this IP, you know, that cyborgs appearances can be very deceiving, you know, because a cyborg, you know, is not like a human being. You know, if you get someone who's a human being, like a girl that's 4'11" or something like that, you might think, you know, although you would proceed at your own risk a lot of times on some people, you know, but normally speaking, you know, in terms of your general perception, if she had been a human, you know, a 4'11", you know, kind of human teenage girl, you know, that you wouldn't think, you know, she would be much of a threat, you know. And I think a lot of her enemies or her opponents, you know, they kind of underestimate her a lot of times like that, you know.
Mhm.
And yes, Dagmar, that is Alita Rave. So anyway, oh, I know one thing I need to do. I just forgot about this. Uh, let's put a let's put the link in the chat here. So if folks want to come on, and there it is. There's the link. If you want to click on that and come on and talk about Alita's best moments in the movie and the manga, come on, click on that link, and you know we'll give it a speak, as they would say. You know. So anyway, there you have it. And yeah, the Toon body and the Berserker body, yeah, those are combat bodies. That's for sure, Bad Man. You're absolutely right about that. Whereas the civilian body and the doll body are definitely not combat bodies. You know, and even her human body, because she does get a human body eventually. You know, in the Last Order, and I think she had a human body in that tree of life thing, or I keep forgetting what that is. What the exact thing of it is, but yeah, those are not combat bodies for sure. So yeah, the civilian body in manga is surprised at how well Ito could make it. Yeah, well, Ito is pretty good, isn't he? In terms the character, I mean, his abilities to build these cyborg bodies, and I think he's widely in the certainly in that fictional universe, he's
Well, I think
widely
he's referring to the fact that Ito has to, in the manga especially, had to rely on cheap materials. There wasn't
yes,
necessarily a whole lot he could do with it.
yeah, but my point was though, that he still put together a really good
Oh
body,
yeah,
even though he had cheap materials, and
I think he might have been able to find some higher quality materials for that body specifically.
yeah, he could have found some for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, like that, kind of like a getting materials cheap, like somebody trying to build a amateur radio or something like that,
Mm.
or build your own computer or something. I guess is what that is. But yeah, he's widely regarded, I guess, in that storyline as the best cyber surgeon in Iron City. So yeah, he's pretty capable, in terms of in terms of being able to put something like that together. And yes, Bad Man, definitely Umba helped him with that. Umba in the manga, he's kind of a, I guess he's kind of like he's more like no, it's not Umba. Who's the other one? Who's the one Gare had replaced from the manga? I can't
I
remember.
can't remember his name, but yeah,
Yeah,
he was an old friend of Ito's in the manga.
yeah, that's right. So and he was kind of like a mechanic, I guess, that helped him build
Hmm.
those bodies. So yeah, uh, yeah, and Umba may have helped him with that. It wasn't Umba though that I was thinking about. It was that guy that had that plate over his head. I can't remember his name now. That's
Hmm.
not Umba. I forget. But anyway, uh,
Ganzu.
Gonzu. Yeah, there you go, Bad Man. I appreciate that. Yep, that's real good. You know. And of course, we know the story. Alita goes down there. She's fighting him. She really, people don't realize in that fight, she almost killed Grishka then, because when she, kind of attacked him, he was shooting those grind cutters at her, and she was dodging in and out and stuff like that, and then kind of, lunged at him and kicked him into the wall, and that big heavy rock fell in front of him. If it had fell on
Mhm.
top of him, it would have killed him. So he kind of got lucky there. He would have, or she would have killed him right then. Probably. But of course, his body was the body that Shirin that actually made for him was actually way too powerful. For her to fight in that doll body. Although she gave him all he wanted. That's for sure.
Mhm.
By doing that. And she was a little impulsive in that fight as well by launching herself against him when he had the grind cutters. Maybe thinking that she'd get fast enough where she'd get through it before he could actually, get him to cut her. But this is the scene right here where I actually fell in love with this character. I mean, it was amazing, and particularly, the fight was really cool. I mean, it was a really action-packed type fight. I liked the visuals and stuff like that. And when she rammed her hand in his eye like that and said "fuck your mercy," I fell in love with her on that one. I went, "Oh my god, this is great." And I told Cranberry Jam one time that if she'd have been a real person sitting next to me, I might have asked her to marry me. So anyway, but of course she's not a real person, we know, and that's all kidding too, of course. But the thing about Alita, even in a body that's not, I would say, that's not a combat body, she still knows Panzerkunst, and that was kind of something that was ingrained in her training. It's like Ito said, she was drawn to conflict, and it was part of her training. So even though she could not remember some of the conscious stuff about her past, about couldn't remember her name and stuff like that, and the only thing that would get her to kind of remember anything about her past is when she would be under great mental stress, and that would make her recall certain parts of her past. And she kind of slowly learned it that way, I guess. That plus hanging around with not Chaos Nova. He's one of our guys. Okay, Gonzu is he's an old drunk, I guess. Yeah, he goes to the Kansas bar, doesn't he, and kind of has a beer or two or 10, as they would say. So, but he's pretty good though in terms of being able to assist Ito in building those bodies. Yes, that's exactly what it is, and in a very real way, Bad Man. Panzerkunst is like a lot of martial arts, where in like karate, kung fu, other martial arts, you're trained to seek those weak points, where you hit people, when you're fighting with them, and you hit them at those weak points, and Panzerkunst is very much the same. And I think we did a stream similar to this, not too long ago, where we compared how similar Panzerkunst was to, say, other martial arts style, like typically like a lot of karate in there and some kung fu, because she did that one movement in front of the mirror called Snake Creeps Down, and that was pretty cool. I remember when I saw that, I couldn't remember what that movement was called. My brother told me what it was because he still is pretty active in martial arts. And, it's just, I guess she still remembers it in such a way that it's kind of ingrained in her psyche, and she can't actually forget it at all. So, but anyway, any thoughts about this scene at all? I bet this is one of your favorite scenes as well there, Lee.
Certainly memorable.
Yes. And of course, it was the only place where they could put the F-bomb there and only could do it once, if they wanted to maintain their PG-13 rating, to do that. And, it was really cool. I remember we did that stream with Lita Calligridis, and it was funny, when we got to that point. I guess somebody in the chat had asked her what her favorite quote in the stream was, which I guess from that person's perspective, it was almost like a trick question. They knew what she was going to say, and she said, basically she said, Gary, can you tell me what my favorite phrase was? And of course I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So it was really funny. We had a good time on that stream too, Okay, any other thoughts about this one, Lee?
Not really. I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. And I'm not going to go over every one of those bullets. We'll, basically just hit those top 4, I guess is what it is. And by the way, once again, anybody wants to come on, I'm going to put the link back in the chat, so you can click on that link, come on, and, let's, give Alita a speak. If all you want to do is come on and say, I love Alita, and you jump off, you can do that. We're okay with that. And if you want to click on that link, come on the stream and stay on, you can do that as well. We'll take what we can get here. We certainly would love to have anybody come on. Okay, well, what do you think about this stream, Lee? In terms of Alita's best moments, this is early on in the film, so.
I don't really think it's one of the best moments. I mean, it's a nice moment. It's a memorable moment. You're basically getting introduced to her, but
yeah,
it's sort of just, one of those introduction type scenes to me.
Yeah.
It's a nice one, but.
Yeah. It's kind of a heartwarming one in a way, but for me, just when she opens her eyes and you see those anime-like eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and that turned off a lot of people, didn't it? I mean, yeah, I don't know why they did that. I mean, when you think about other Disney movies, and anybody that's watched anime, big eyes like that are not that big a deal, But a lot of haters, I guess, didn't like it, I suppose, for one reason or the other. So.
Well,
But
there were a lot of people, well, not necessarily a lot of people. There were quite a few people I'd seen mention that even the CGI looked fake. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
no, that's bull crap.
So I think it was just people looking for nitpick to hate on.
Yeah, I think so. Because the way they had done her irises when they did that close up, it was you could see the striations, in her
Mhm.
iris. I mean, they really paid a lot of
Yeah,
attention
the
to detail.
detailing in the muscle there.
Yeah, that's right. And God, it was to me, it was just amazing. Okay, Cinna Sandy has a last thought about F Your Mercy. The manga could have done it. Yeah, they didn't do that in the manga, did they? I guess it's been too early. Makaku only has his whole pendant speech later in his arc. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was amazing. They did pull out the same basic narrative there, that he was going to turn her into a living pendant to adorn my chest, and so he could hear her beg for mercy every moment of the day. So, pretty evil fellow, is what he
Yep.
was. And of course, we all know that Ito and Hugo and McTeague came down and rescued her, because she was chopped to bits. I mean, lost half of her body and had one arm and stuff like that. So, and she was probably bleeding out cyber blood, and so she
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to operate, her remaining arm. I mean, she had, when she rammed her arm in his eye, she had enough cyber blood to do that, which
Yep.
is that was just really freaking amazing to me. I love that scene. But anyway, that's a good thing. That's a good catch there, Sin of Sanity, for sure. So yeah, this scene right here, though, I guess I kind of agree with you, Lee. Although for me, it was kind of an initial. It's like when you go fishing. You put the bait out there, and you kind of see it. So okay, this is kind of different. You see someone in a live action movie like this with big irises, like in the anime. You say, okay, all right, this is kind of neat. Now, I never had this feeling that it was weird or it was bad or something like that. I loved it from the first time when she opened her eyes. I thought how pretty it was. So,
Well, for me, I did see it as a little bit odd, not like unpleasantly, just
yeah,
unusual. But I
yes.
ended up completely forgetting about it by the time she bit into the orange. So it was like perfectly normal after that.
Well, I thought it was unusual as well because you don't see this in movies, and
Yeah.
you see it, in animation. You'll like in that movie Frozen. I mean, of course, those characters had big eyes, and you
Yeah.
see it in a lot of anime. I mean, it's not that big a deal, really. But to see it like this in live action, you go, whoa,
Mhm.
that's wild, But I still thought it was beautiful, But yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a little unusual, for sure. So, and the whole scene following this too, I kind of love that too, where it's her first time. It's almost like she had been like she'd been dead for 300 years, which kind of was, or at least in a
Mhm.
coma, is what she was doing. So let's see, Smendrick, girl swings a chain like a
Yeah,
lasso.
when she's taking on what was
Yeah,
it,
when yeah,
Stinger and Screwhead.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was kind of like a cowgirl. Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's exactly right, Smendrick. I wonder if the people in Texas probably like that.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, that was one of my favorite scenes as well. That scene with Screwhead in it. But yeah, it was this scene was. I like this scene. You know, I will confess it wasn't my favorite scene. Obviously, I'm kind of like
Mhm.
Lee in one way. I think it was unusual. It did kind of catch me by surprise a little bit, but I never thought it was bad or ugly, like some of the haters did. So,
Mhm.
and this scene, and even everything that was leading up to it, Well, let's see what Badman says here about the big eyes. Yes, that's right. We talked about that on one of the early streams. That I guess I guess the sunlight on Mars is
Well,
something like,
the
yeah,
illumination on Mars isn't necessarily that bad, but it could be that with the war or whatever that might have altered things. Maybe the terraforming did something to it. But
yeah,
there was somebody who did a Reddit post that went into the science behind a larger optical system like that.
yeah,
And some of it was based on a lot of extrapolation from today's technology, what we're capable of now.
yeah,
And one of the things that they said, the advantage of having larger eyes like that is that you would be able to combine with certain digital enhancements in real time to an image coming in.
yes,
She would be able to track fast moving objects much more easily than a normal human, which means
yes,
something she could probably watch a bullet fly through the air and
yeah,
track its movement as it did.
yeah. Well, what my point was going
Which,
to be,
well, I was going to say it's just that would be something that would be a real um, advantage to a combat cyborg capable of moving at really high speed. You want to be able to track the environment around you as you're moving through it at really high speed.
yeah, yeah. And Badman there in the chat is he's kind of stole my thunder there, which is okay. Which is what I was about to say is that
Okay.
the brightness on Mars is roughly half of what it is on Earth, and I think, and I agree with you, it was like technology and bigger eyes can have more capability and stuff like that, but also, to get the same kind of visual perception that we get on Earth, it seems to me you would have to have bigger eyes just to so your pupils, when they dilated, they could have more room to dilate, and you could take in more light, doing that, because you'd have to take in a double amount. I think I think I remember that post you're talking about on Reddit, because that person, I think, said something about her irises were like 40% bigger than a normal human iris or something
Hmm.
like that.
About 40%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's exactly right. And oh wow, Badman, you must be some guy. You may know a little bit about science there. Talking about the inverse square law. That's a good thing there. Usual style in Japan. Yeah, that's right. It is. It's not unusual in Japan. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Although I dare say they probably don't have too many live action movies that have those kind of big irises like that, but they're accustomed to it more because their anime is, the characters have big eyes and stuff like that. So I agree. Uh, Mars Chronicles has a very interesting setting on Mars. The sequel to Mars will be terraformed properly. Yeah, well, I think one of the things about Mars Chronicles too is that we're probably not going to see Mars Chronicles in any kind of sequel or anything like that. Probably, my guess would be that if they do a Mars Chronicle, Alita, type thing, I think it would probably be, as a series, because the Mars Chronicles is, it's quite involved, and it's pretty dark too. They had, well, the manga's dark, just about the entire manga's dark. But they if my I'd always thought that the Mars Chronicles, if they produced that as a series, they could go a couple of ways with that. One of the ways they could go with it would be, like maybe an anime itself. They could kind of do that, or they could do a live action, kind of Mars Chronicles, but kind of tone it down, because it is so dark and there's some really weird stuff in it, for sure. And so kids can watch it, if they made an anime or if they made a live action, so if they want to bring little kids along, have them grow up, with the IP and stuff like that, then they would have to do that, with Mars Chronicles, I think, but who knows? Who knows what? Now, I don't think James Cameron's going to be involved in any Mars Chronicle type thing, although he has said he's open. to someone doing a series. He is that, but he's not going to do it. I mean, he might. That's something Robert Rodriguez would do, because he's done series. Even like Boba Fett. He did a couple of I guess Mandalorian episodes. I guess. Yeah, it's going to be hard to terraform Mars. Scientists are they've debated that guy. That thing is probably, who knows how long it'd take. But it wouldn't surprise me if it took them 1,000 years to terraform Mars. So that would be that'd be something. Now, if we remember from the manga in the Mars Chronicles, that they really didn't terraform it in the truest sense. I mean, they kind of did, but they had that dome, if you remember. So everything under the dome was habitable. And then of course, if you go outside, that dome, you're going to be facing the same thing you would have if some astronaut was to get on there today. They'd have to have a spacesuit. Whereas if they're under that dome, they wouldn't have to do that. So,
well, at the technology level they showed in the movie with stasis fields
yes.
used to just, as storage.
Yes.
I mean, antimatter microreactor as a heart for their combat cyborgs.
Yeah.
They probably had the technology to generate a artificial magnetosphere to help hold the atmosphere in.
Now that's a thought. I hadn't thought of that. That's a good thought. Yeah, they may be.
So they may have actually had a green Mars.
Could be, and of course their technology is much more advanced.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the warships that they had. I mean, they probably had the ability to travel between Earth and Mars in a matter of maybe weeks.
Yeah, as opposed to 7 to 10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe even days, for that
matter.
matter.
Could be. Yeah. Yeah, because it would take we could start with our current level of technology. We could start terraforming Mars right now. It would just take a long time. Because you have to generate the atmosphere. I mean, you have to create, or not create. You wouldn't create, but you would have to kind of produce through chemical reactions. Like nitrogen, kind of free flowing nitrogen and oxygen, and that kind of thing at the same ratios that we have on Earth. And you would have to have some pretty big, machinery. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie Aliens. That's kind of my concept there, that what they would do, that they would be creating. They'd have to have these huge atmosphere processors, and they'd have to have a lot of them. They'd have to be spread all over the planet.
Well, there are shortcuts they could have taken, and those shortcuts could have been augmented by technology they never even went into in the movie. I mean, if they've got stasis fields, antimatter reactors, advanced nanotechnology that can, within seconds, repair materials and stuff like that. I mean, even if it was before all of that, you'd still have really advanced technology capable of, who knows what.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Because we're just guessing now, because all we know is our current level of technology.
Yeah. With our current level of technology, I think it was like on the order of centuries to get any kind of habitable or even remotely habitable atmosphere or environment on Mars.
Well, Ito did say that Alita's antimatter microreactor heart could power Iron City for years. So, and that thing, it's the same size roughly as a human heart. So you'd say, wow, that an antimatter. I mean, really? Wow.
I think today we can't get antimatter to last more than, I think, a few seconds, because it decays or destroys itself so quickly.
Yeah, because if it comes in contact with a particle of matter, they annihilate each other immediately. So I think
I think that was even in the laboratory conditions where they create it.
Yeah.
They keep it away from anything, but even then, it still just breaks down or something.
Yeah. Well, they have been able to create, a few atoms of antimatter at the Large Hadron Collider.
Mhm.
at CERN, you know. But
That's what I was
you're
referring to. They don't even then, though, they don't last more than I think it was a few seconds, if that.
yeah, that's right. It kind of yeah, it's kind of goes bye-bye after just a very short period of time. And the fact that their technology can not only control antimatter, but, you know, sustain it
Keep it and
for,
store it too.
yeah, God almighty. That, I mean, that's technology way beyond what we can do today. I
Mhm.
mean, you know, you could look at somebody like Alita and you say, well, okay, you know, she's a total replacement cyborg, but we got people that are cyborgs today. They have artificial arms, you know, prosthetics like Tilly Locky has, you know.
Mhm.
Uh, and even our very beloved Max Tack Jirai, he's we kid him, he's a 1% cyborg. So
Well,
we tease him about that, you know. But yeah, we don't have a clue about what this kind of technology, if it existed, you know. Now, granted, this is a movie; it's not, you know,
mhm.
it's not a real thing. But you know, if this technology was real, you know, then it would be, you know, it's, to me, it would be more than 200 years in the future. I don't know. That's just my gut feeling about it, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay, Evernaut says that he read somewhere, he remembered that Lita's eyes are only 20%, 25% larger. You know, that I don't know. Distinctly remember 40, but I'm not going to disagree with you because it could be, you know, you know, I don't know if anybody's ever actually measured her eyes. Maybe that's something that maybe I ought to try to do because I
Mhm.
got plenty of pictures of Alita. That's for sure. You know, I could compare her eyes to others, but that'd be, yeah, for sure. You know, I don't know, Lee. Do you remember anything? Because I do distinctly remember 40%,
I
but
do remember a source saying 40%, but eh,
who knows?
yeah, could be multiple sources, multiple results from that.
Yeah, for sure. You know.
Your
Okay.
guess is as good as mine as to which one to go with. So,
Yeah, exactly. Ah, there we go. That's what we were talking about a while ago. Lee, is that how long it took to get from Earth to Mars and vice versa? 15 days. So
mhm.
2 weeks. I mean that's a propulsion technology that we don't have today either. Because
Yeah.
I think with our current level of technology with our spacecraft, we have to get gravity assists and stuff like that. We have to, you know, we launch, you know, at the most optimum point, and it takes 7 months to get there if it's at the most optimal point. If it's at the least optimal point, it could take 16 months, I think I read somewhere.
Well,
Um,
we actually have the technology to get there in a little over a month,
ah,
but they won't use it because of a whole lot of political and bureaucratic red tape involved.
well, would that be a nuclear propulsion or?
Yeah. A
Yeah.
Nervo rocket would get you there in about a month and a half.
Yeah, I wonder if Elon Musk is going to do something like that though. You know, where he don't give a
Doesn't
shit.
seem like there's been no indication that he's even looking into nuclear propulsion.
Yeah, that's right. Because I'm not sure he cares anything about any politics. I mean, he has certain political leanings, but I don't think he gives a crap in terms of his space program.
Yeah.
That'd be my feeling anyway. You know. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. Of course, we know the relativity, the, you know, that equation for general relativity for sure. You know, that's Einstein's equation. Yeah, we don't have a clue about an antimatter microreactor heart. We just don't know. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah.
to us, it's kind of like Arthur C. Clarke said one time: any sufficiently advanced civilization,
Well,
uh,
any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
magic to say some of
Yeah,
us.
so we're yeah,
Yeah,
with the advanced nanotech that her body was composed of, as well as the antimatter reactor heart and the stasis
yeah,
field systems and all that, and
yes,
the innumerable directed energy weapons they were using. It was like, hand wavium levels of technology.
yes, yeah. It's way beyond us that right now.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
our technology is growing though. I mean, we may get there faster than you think. I don't know. You know. Uh, ah, Okay, it was mentioned in the Weta report. I'm not sure which one you're referring to there. Is that the technology you're talking about, Avernaut, or is that her? Are we going back to her eyes or? I don't remember. So yeah, that's right. I did read this that he wants to put some kind of nuclear devices because they generate heat, quite a bit of heat, and he wants to put them on the polar ice caps to melt the ice. I mean, it's got, I think it's got carbon dioxide ice, but it also has
Did he
water.
want to melt them with a nuclear device, or do you want to detonate a nuclear device on the polar ice caps?
I am not sure. I don't remember. So, but I know I've had read somewhere that he wants to make use of nuclear devices, but not for propulsion. I think.
Mm,
What is
okay.
this? Oh, her eyes were bigger. 25% bigger. Okay, in the weather report. Okay, okay, bad man. All right. Yeah, we're good with that. Okay, but anyway, we that's all right. We kind of got sidetracked, but that's okay because anything about Alita, I'm all in on it. Yeah, this scene here where she kind of does that one finger stand like that, and even up leading up to it, like Lee was talking about a while ago, where she, kind of leans down and kisses Ito on the cheek. That was really a sweet scene. And she
Mm.
goes in there and does this. I'm going, holy crap! But they had they had somebody from Cirque du Soleil that actually did. Rosa said in the interview, one of the interviewer asked her, did she do this? And she said, no, we had someone from Cirque du Soleil come in. I can't do this, she said.
Mm.
So, but I did see a video on Twitter, I guess, sometime back that this person on Twitter was actually doing a one finger stand like this. Now, they were kind of a very small person. It was a female, and they did a one finger stand just like this. Now I don't know
Um,
if they used any trickery or not. If they had cables or anything like that. It didn't look like they did, but who knows?
I think they would have had to have cables because there's no way a finger can withstand that kind of stress. The human finger doesn't have that kind of structural capacity.
Yeah, you would think that would be the case. Now, if, those of you that know a little bit about martial arts out there know that Bruce Lee used to do that one finger push up, but that's not the same thing because
Mm.
Alita probably weighs, and we've had some discussion about how much she weighs. She could weigh as much as 300 pounds. We don't know. Maxie seemed to think that her body with the super advanced materials that the Berserker body would have would be lighter, but we really don't know. But I gotta imagine though that she's pretty heavy, or at least Hugo thought she was heavy, and her like a dumbass. He says, "Oh, you're heavy," and he
Hmm.
helped her up. I said, "Oh, you dumbass."
Yeah.
But anyway, but in her Berserker body, her finger is structurally
Yeah, in the
capable.
movie, her finger is, but a human flesh and bone one. I mean, I broke a finger just separating a couple of dogs that started going at each other.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, just grabbing one by the collar and trying to pull her away from the other one, I ended up breaking one of my fingers.
Well, I bet that didn't feel too good, did it?
I didn't notice at the time, actually. It wasn't until I looked down and realized one of my fingers was crooked that I realized, oh, that's not supposed to look like that.
Yeah, I did that one time when I was in karate. I had on my right hand, my little finger on my right hand. I was sparring, and I was just sparring. I didn't realize, like you, I didn't realize it. And then after we sparred, I kind of went, we went over to the side of where I looked at my finger, and I thought, whoa, it ain't supposed to look like that.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I broke it. I might have just dislocated it, but it was kind of part of it was going sideways, so I
Yeah.
just pull it out, or something like that. And okay, so Elon Musk wants to extract water and oxygen from the ice caps. Okay, yeah, you can do that with heat. Yeah, but that's right, bad man. I mean, you could build all the machines you want to build, to produce an oxygen-rich atmosphere. But if you don't have a magnetosphere, it's not going to stick around because the solar wind, like Bad Man points out, is going to kind of strip it away. So yeah, that's right. One finger stand is easier in microgravity, but she's on Earth here, so this is yeah, this isn't microgravity right here. This is This is 1G is what that is.
Oh, I found that thing on the Cirque du Soleil performer. She said, just to clarify, I didn't balance on my finger. They made it look like that. I was just doing one handstand.
Yeah.
Which is still an amazing feat.
Yeah, it is. I think Jessie Fisher might have. I don't know if she can do one. I know Vladi had sent her a Berserker cosplay outfit, and she did. But I think she. I don't know if she did one handstand or if she used two hands. I don't remember. But she did something like that, like you see Alita there in the image. You know, she did a. I think it was two though. She was on two hands. I think, which would by itself would still be pretty damn tough, you know. I mean, because of the balance and that kind of thing, you know. I think she
Oogie
used
the Contortionist, she goes by on Instagram.
I'm sorry?
The performer that did it, she goes by Oogie the Contortionist on Instagram.
I have to look her up. So anyway, but yeah, this whole scene, everything it sets it up, you know, where, you know, she's laying on Gru Scott, Finn, Vegatus Dia Hoita. So anyway, or Haloshin, one of the two, you know. But anyway, where she's laying on, you know, the operating looking table, you know, where, you know, I guess Ito had kind of put her together the first time, and then he put her together again, or at least embodied her in the Berserker body. That scene there where it shows, you know, the nanites, you know, reconfiguring her body to her mental image, you know, that was pretty cool. That whole setup there till the time she's doing this, and when she, you know, kind of plays around with her plasma weapon, you know, where she kind of puts her finger up and the thing's on fire, you know. I like the look on Gerhard's face.
Yeah, it's like, not sure what to think of that.
You know, so and I think what it was not, wasn't meant to be funny, but it was a little on the comical side that when Ito said it was arc plasma as some kind of weapon, you didn't exactly how you control it. I don't know. You didn't
exactly come with a manual, did you?
Did you? Yeah. So yeah, she didn't. You know, so. Bitteschön there, Finn. No problem. You're welcome. And he said hi to Fitzmendrick. That's cool. Yeah, that's right. Personal plasma cutters would be quite useful, I think.
That's the thing. That's not even necessarily a plasma cutter. That's some kind of a plasma field that she can actually generate.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we did a.
She could make plasma cutters out of it, yeah, but I think they're capable of maybe even a little bit more variety of capability.
Well, if you remember in the manga, which we're going to talk a little bit about the manga here in a few minutes, but in the manga, you know, she was fighting Clive Lee, you know, and Clive Lee of the White Hot Palm, you know, and he's, you know, he's got that sword and he's trying to stab her with it. And she's holding it between her hands, you know, and she actually, you know, kind of, you know, I guess she kind of put a positive charge on him or a negative charge or whatever, and the lightning hit him, you know, so in a very real way. And she did this too when Last Order, she was able to call down lightning, you know, kind of like Thor does in a way, you know, and of course she was in the Berserker body in a good bit of the Last Order. So my German gets better. I don't know about that, Finn. My German, I don't have very much practice with it, really. I don't know that many folks around that speak German. So, yeah, all manuals are digital these days. Yeah, he would doubt that Ito would read some kind of paper-based book, you know, for this, for sure. You know, but yeah, this was a really great scene. I really liked this scene a lot. You know, it's pretty neat. It was real sweet, you know, and it was, you know, it was kind of a just her sitting there, and he's, you know, he said, Ito says, "Now you know who you are," you know, and she's sitting there, just looking at him with that kind of a half smile on her face, you know. That was really cute, you know. So it was pretty neat. Yes. Yeah, that's right. Lightning is attract to
Hmm.
electrically charged objects, exactly which she certainly charged Clive Lee up in the manga, didn't she? That's for sure. So, yep. Any other thoughts about this scene right here, Lee?
No, not really. No.
Okay, well, let's kind of take a look at this is another one of the Creek's favorite scenes. I guess this scene it wasn't is not my favorite as compared to say the F Your Mercy scene, but what I did like about it was how fast she took care of him. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, she after he punctured her with those grind cutters because she was he caught her by surprise.
Hmm.
And once she jumped at him to kill him. I mean, he was dead within 10 seconds. So
Yep.
yeah, that was yeah,
It was a good way of showcasing just how much more powerful she had become.
yes. And I think this was a case where he kind of underestimated her too because he had fought her the first time, and she was in that doll body, and now she's in the berserker body, and that's going to be a whole different animal right there. And of course, she had that Damascus blade as well. And yeah, I like this. As a matter of fact, this whole scene, not just this scene, but where she fights, where she takes out the Centurions, and then she goes, she confronts Vector and takes out Gerwishka and all that good stuff. To me, she was more like manga Alita, here than she was at the first part of the movie. The first part of the movie, they kind of dumbed her down in some places. I guess at the very beginning, I guess Uncanny Valley, I think they call it.
Hmm.
And I mean, I could see why that was kind of normal though, because she had been basically in a coma for 300 years. So I mean, you could see where that would it would have an effect on her mind, where she wouldn't be able to remember much. But once she got in this berserker body, even though she still couldn't remember too much about her past, things kind of fit for her because you remember she told Hugo the berserker body that it felt um, it was like more me. I think is what she said to him.
It was a body she was more accustomed to, I think, even if she didn't realize it.
Yeah, yeah. And this was a badass moment, that's for sure, Finn. You got that right. So yeah, she. I normally Alita, I mean, well, when she's about to fight somebody, she doesn't really talk to them too much. Now she will kind of talk to them, say maybe she's pretty much killed him or defeated him at that point, and what she'll do, particularly in the manga, is that she'll take, I wouldn't call it pity, but she would feel some kind of empathy for her enemy, for the state he was in. And you could see that when she sliced off Zapan's face. When she sliced off his face, and he was holding his face, saying, my face," and the look on her face was almost like sorrow. Like he felt sorry for him. But then, of course, she just walked off
Hmm.
after that. But she is empathetic like that. But now I don't get the feeling in this scene she was very empathetic, to Gruishka. She just
Well, in the manga, not the manga, the novelization, she did have some level of sympathy for him,
yeah,
for, the potential, I guess, that was wasted, the life that he could have led instead.
yes,
Something along those lines. I'm not sure if
yeah,
that's,
that's right.
but yeah, she doesn't. I didn't actually get the impression she was very sympathetic towards Japan. The look on her face to me was more disgusted than anything else.
Could be, could be.
But that's just me.
Yeah, a more substantial failure that was working for the grind cutters. Yeah, that's right. Well, so did the anime. If you remember when she fought, what is it, Grisica? I guess is what they called him, or something.
Something like that.
Uh, yeah, where she, he shot the grind cutters at her, and she kind of ran on top of them, as they were still out there, and then of course I guess she used her plasma weapon to go around his arm, I guess, and his arm exploded. after
Mm-hmm.
that. So and then she kind of cut him in half with her. She didn't have the Berserker, or rather the Damascus blade there either.
Yeah.
She cut him in half with like just her karate chop. I mean, her hand was engulfed with with plasma.
Mm-hmm.
So she could definitely just with using her hand, she can cut you in half even with just her hand. She doesn't need that blade to do that. Okay, well let's see, is that it? Yeah, that's kind of what I got for the I guess for the I guess it's the the first four. And we talked a little bit about her beating up on Japan. She did that twice. I mean, she certainly
Yep.
kicked his butt in the Kansas bar, and then she sliced off his face.
She humiliated him in the Kansas bar, and then, well, probably should have killed him in the
Yeah,
street outside the church.
yeah. So I guess anything else we want to talk about here, Lee, in terms of Alita in the movie, or that you can think of, or
Nothing really comes to mind, I'm afraid.
yeah. All right. Let's. Oh, that's the wrong. Okay, the manga. Now the manga. Now I don't have a lot of slides on this. I do have a couple. Um, the manga is much. It's much more rich, I guess you could say, than the movie because there's so much. There's so much content. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
from all the way from the Mars Chronicles all the way through that, through the original manga, and then the Last Order. I mean, it's all. I mean, there's just so much. I think if you had bought the original translations and stuff like that, it was like 38 volumes or something like that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, I know I got the box set for the original manga, and it's 4 volumes, I think, or maybe 5. I can't remember. And then, of course, I got the Mars Chronicles, and I also have the Last Order. But among all of these, is that my favorite scene. Now, I say my favorite scene. This is a little bit like the movie in that there are a bunch of scenes in the manga or a bunch of panels in the manga I really like.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly Alita meeting Figure Four on the atomic or nuclear train, I thought was really classic. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of neat. It's because I guess Figure Four Yolg told Figure Four, "Don't mess with her. She's the angel of death. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
mess with her at all." And of course, Figure Four, he's not the brightest bulb in the bunch to begin with.
Yeah.
And probably what he does is he kind of sitting there and said, "Oh, that's a cute girl right there. I could go talk to her," something like that. Not realizing what he might be getting into.
I don't think he gave a lot of credence to superstitions either. That
Yeah, I
might
don't.
be part of it.
Yeah, hearing the angel of death. And
Mm.
something tells me that even he underestimated her to a point,
Yeah.
because when he fights her in the desert, which is another one of my favorite panels, he thinks he's just going to take her out. He just thinks, well,
Mm-hmm.
she's just a little girl. I'm going to be able to whip her ass easy. And man, was he wrong. It was so funny. She literally stomped him in the dirt. And he kept getting up, to
As
the
something I've
point.
noticed about a lot of the warriors in Kashiro's story, they all seem to be overconfident.
Mhm.
I mean, they all seem to get themselves into situations that they thought they were more than ready for, and then they get the crap kicked out of them, if they're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's all they do is get the crap kicked out of them. So yeah, for sure. And yeah, that's yeah, I think we just talked about that one. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, let me just put up a couple more of these here. Yeah,
Which
it's
for
nine
me, it was
box.
kind. I was
Yeah,
just
go
going to say, for me, it was a that's a real big sort of change from what I'm used to hearing from combat veterans in the real world. A lot of them, almost all of them, will say it's like the best way to win a fight, not to get into one.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's what Sun Tzu. He you win a fight by you fight the enemy where they aren't.
Hmm.
Something like that anyway.
Hit them where
But
they're weak and
yeah, exactly. You know.
fight on your terms, not theirs. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but that atomic train scene was kind of neat, or that those set of panels there on that was kind of neat. I especially liked that here he is, he's going to go up and flirt with what he thinks is just this cute girl, and not realizing or really ignoring the fact that she is the angel of death. She
Hmm.
really is. And I guess the way it starts out, he introduced himself and he grabs the harmonica from her because she was playing a harmonica.
Actually, I don't think he even introduced himself yet. I think he just grabbed it. Although I may
Yeah,
be remembering it wrong. I'm not sure.
that's right. He did say he asked her what her name was, and she told him. That's right. But he grabs the harmonica and starts playing it, and he plays it so bad that she just laughs, kind of thing. And he says,
Hmm.
"Well, I used to play pretty good when I was a kid, or something like that."
Hmm.
And then he starts in on her like, you got a really big gun there. What are you going to do? Are you going to start a war? And then finally she just looks at him and says, Mr. Four, I'd be careful if I were you because people that get too close to me end up in an early grave. Happens to everyone, she says. But not him, boy. He just keeps going.
Yeah.
But that was one of my favorite scenes. Also, uh, when she fights him in the fights figure four in the desert, she just literally kicks his butt, boy. But now she doesn't want to seriously hurt him, because I
Hmm.
think even though she beats him up, she's kind of already started taking a liking to him a little bit. I think. And what impressed her was the fact when she was kicking his butt, he still kept getting up, and he was beat to shit and he still got up. So I think her comment was, "What is wrong with this guy?"
Hmm.
Something like that. And then she ends up running off or something like that. And it and then comes back for figure four in the old later because I think she was worried a little bit about the nuclear reactor on the train exploding or something like that. And then there was another scene that she had that I really loved was when they were on top of this building, and one of those butterflies, what do they call them, death eyes or whatever they are, I can't remember now. It's one of those butterflies that actually Kashiro actually is afraid of himself. And she shoots out the side of the wall trying to shoot this butterfly, and she blasts the wall, just blasts away at this wall and just takes it out, the whole wall. And figure
I
four is holy,
think I
yeah.
think it's a death's head hawk moth. I think
Ah, okay.
it might be another one though.
But he says, "What was that?"
Hmm.
Something like that, where she shot out the whole wall, you know, and she was scared to death of that butterfly. So that's pretty funny. I think a really funny panel. What is one of your favorite manga moments there, Lee?
Ah, I have to think for a moment on that one. There's quite a few. Um,
Pick one off the list if you want.
well, the end of the fight with Zerkerpan is one of them.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. Yeah. By the way, anybody wants to come on and join Lee and I, here's the link. All you got to do is click on it. We don't bite, or at least not hard. So, so if you want to come on and talk about Alita, you can come on and chat with us. So yeah, we even I guess here not too long ago we even did the Sonic figure. That story is one of my favorite stories.
Hmm.
That was really nice. I like that one. And I certainly like the Zerkerpan arc. That's really good. And I liked her fight with. Well, I can't say there's a lot of in the manga I don't like. I mean, certainly her fight with Joshikon. I really liked her fight with Toji. And the Zot. That
Hmm.
was pretty cool. One of the scenes there that was funny leading up to that fight is that Toji was having tea. And he invited Lita to have tea with him. And Toji was big. He's like, God, I don't know how tall he was. He was something like,
It's
5 meters
huge.
tall or whatever he was. Yeah, it's huge. But anyway, he had these giant cups that he was
Mm-hmm.
drinking out of, and he gave one of them to Alita, and Alita's holding it in her hands.
That's like a
Oh,
large bowl.
yeah, they're like a big old bowl, that she was going to drink this tea out of. And that was kind of humorous right there.
Yeah.
So, and then
And
of
for
course,
him, it was like a dainty little teacup.
yeah, exactly. But when she fought him, uh, it was one of those fights, that it looked like she was going to beat him, and then she blew up, because she seems to love getting blown up, doesn't she?
I'm not sure she loves getting blown up. I think it's just one of those things that she kind of ends up having happen to her quite a
Yeah,
bit.
I think so. But you would think, okay,
I think
getting
it's one of the things Kashiro likes to do to her.
yeah. But anyway, she reassembles, real fast, like, and takes Toji out. I mean, that's because I guess, she was. I can't. I don't remember how this came out, but I think she might have been teleported or something to Jupiter or something like this, and they upgraded her not Berserker, her Imaginos body, because when she came back, and I don't. It might have been one of these stasis fields things too, Lee, for like time stasis, because they put her in this spot. They kind of reassembled her, or I guess that, and the nanites reassembled her or something. I don't remember, but they gave her some extra power, and that's when she came back. It was almost like she instantaneously reassembled herself. Although if you read the manga, which I guess she was on Jupiter, that it was like she was there for a little while for they to put her back together or something like that. Anyway, she fights Toji, and she ends up beating him. And that's that. You see that wing thing there? She has on that upper left image, where those are like berserker blades, is what they
Mm-hmm.
are. So, or Damascus blades rather.
Yeah.
So
That's something else I've noticed about the manga. The manga has even more fantastical levels of technology than the movie.
yes, it does, doesn't it? Because
Mm-hmm.
there was that one scene in there. I think you wrote about it a little bit too in your fanfic, where that one guy, he's kind of like an interdimensional
Yeah,
time traveler or
he's
whatever
like
he is.
a Buddhist monk with a dimension traveling device in him.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, then there was the wormhole, and
Yes.
her Imaginos body is also fantastical levels of technology.
Oh yeah. Well, when Nova said when she came back, in that and the bad man's mentioning this right here, when she got upgraded to what Nova called the Imaginos 2.1 body, because she was in the Imaginos 2.0, I guess, the body that Nova had made for or something. I can't remember exactly how she ended up in that body, because her first body was Imaginos 1.0. Then she got
2.0 might have been after she got blown up the first time.
could have been.
Maybe.
Well,
It's been
no,
a
I
while,
think
so
she
I don't know.
was. I think she was in the tuned body when she got blown up by the baby bomb. I think.
Yeah,
I
that
don't,
was the Toon body. She was
yeah.
on her way to meet back up with Figure 4, and she was
Yes.
going through the mountain pass, encountered what she thought was a child, and died to that baby bomb.
Yeah, that's right. And then of course Nova put her back together, I guess.
Hmm.
And at that point, in her Imaginos body, she's actually an android. She's not a cyborg anymore because she's got a brain chip. And,
Yeah.
so, but she's still Alita. She still remembers things about herself.
Okay, so Alita made the Imaginos 2.0 body from Tunguska, the Jovian competitor.
Ah, yes, yes. But when she got those extra powers, I guess, when she got to the Imaginos 2.1 body, she was like godlike. I mean, she was,
Hmm.
or goddess like. I mean, she's a female, so
Mm.
goddess. And at that point, it's way too much for Toji at that point. So yeah, that Imaginos 2.1 body is pretty OP. I mean, we've done streams on that one where we've kind of considered her powers in that body compared to other characters like Thanos and Dark Side and all that. Now, Dark Side's kind of a different kind of character because you know, the person that's dark side, you know, in like, it's obviously fictional, but like in our universe, that's an avatar. That his real consciousness is outside of all universes. I've read that somewhere, and I even saw a video on YouTube about it once. So he's going to be pretty tough, you know, there. But in terms of his avatar, you know, when in Alita in her Imaginos 2.1 body, she's going to take out probably dark side, you know, I wouldn't say easily, but she would take him out, you know. And Thanos, if he doesn't have the stones, he's done. She's going to cut him in half within 10 seconds. He'll be like Gorishka, you know. I mean, it'd be over, you know. I mean, even probably faster than 10 seconds, because in her Imaginos body, she can move near at relativistic speed. So I mean, he's going to be dead before he even knows he's dead. He's going to, I mean, it's going to be like instantaneous almost, you know, from his perspective. So, but anyway. And you know, I like the Makaku thing too. It's similar to the Grishka thing in the movie, but it's kind of like Lee was saying. You know, she actually she's actually kind of feels sorry for him, doesn't she? When she after she fights him down there in the it wasn't in an underworld, like I think it was like it wasn't a sewer, was it? What was it? I don't remember.
Makaku.
Yeah.
Yeah. It started in the sewer. I think they ended up fighting their way to the surface, and I remember that there was some kind of large hydrogen storage tanks involved that she detonated to kill him.
Yes. So, but
and yeah, there was a certain amount of, I think, sympathy for what he had gone through or something like that, and something along those lines. She
I think
felt
so.
Something for him because
of what it's been so long since I've read that. Read that, I can't remember exactly, but you know, but that was a good arc. And you know, I had to stop it there on this one in terms of, you know, I really loved reading the manga. I mean, it's just got so much in it. You know, I mean, it's just you know, it's just it's you just can't put it down. You know, I remember, I think you guys probably remember this story. You know, but I you know, when I one night I had trouble sleeping, so I said, well, I'll just get up, you know, and read a little bit of the manga, you know, and you know, I started reading the manga. I can't remember if it was the last order, if it was you know, more of the original manga. I can't remember, but you know, I started reading it at about say 1 o'clock or something like that. You know, figuring, oh, I'm only going to read it for like half an hour and I'll go back to bed. You know, and the next thing I knew, it was 5:30 in the morning. You know, because I was reading this book, reading the manga. You know, now luckily it was on a Saturday morning where I didn't have to get up and go to work. You know, or something like that. You know, so. Yeah, that's the thing about Cinda Sandy, her ability to dodge punches. Certainly, she can do that in her Berserker body as well, you know. But she also, and yeah, that's right. It outstrips the performance of his body. He blows up. Yeah, that's right. But in her Imaginos body, I mean, to be able to move at the speed she can move at her Imaginos body, she has to have reflexes on the order of nanoseconds. I mean, because a millisecond's not going to get it. You know, I mean, because you'll run.
I think her thought processes in the Imaginos body were like 500 times faster than the normal human.
Yeah, that's right. And I did a calculation, you know, in her Berserker body from the movie, that her thought processes or her reflexes were 20 times faster than the humans. You know. But in her Imaginos body, it is like several orders of magnitude, you know, that she can actually, you know, move. She can actually, her brain can process information like that, you know, and at the speed that she can move in her Imaginos body, it's got to be able to do that. And of course, she has that the brain chip, so she's got an advanced computer. I mean, it'd be kind of like the CPU in your laptop, or if you have a tower or a desktop. You know, it's like that, except many times faster. Because you remember, in the manga, she's 200 years in the future. So just think about how fast computers have, for personal computers, how much they've increased their speed in just the past 20 years.
Yep.
Think about 200 years. How fast are they going to be, 200 years? And that's kind of what you'd be looking at with Alita's brain chip. It's an ultra advanced processing, central processing unit, So, anyway. Anything else there, Lee, that we can think about in the any of the manga? I guess I'm trying to recall. I mean, there's so much in the manga.
Yeah, that's covering a lot of territory.
What I will say, one thing that was poignant, at the end of the last order, is that when she gets human Alita gets bioprinted, and then Figure 4 finds human Alita, and she's about to take off for Venus or wherever it is she's going to go, at the end, because I remember Ito says, he was happy, I guess, that they found human Alita, but he said, I wonder what happened to the other Alita, and that would be the Imaginos Alita, and it was kind of poignant because she still remembered Figure 4, and she still loved him, and she just felt compelled to go to Venus, I guess. And she said she wished she could fulfill that or keep that promise other than that other girl. She said, and speaking about her human counterpart, or her clone. I guess it'd be a clone in that case, wouldn't it? So that was kind of poignant, because she still wanted to be with Figure 4, but she said, "No, I'm going to do what's best for him. He's going to have a human, partner, and I gotta finish the mission. I guess you could say, So, yeah, that was at the end of Mars. That was at the end of the Mars, not Mars Chronicles, Last Order. So that was pretty amazing, and plus that panel where. I guess she's about to fight Karula or something like that, or starts fighting her or something. Karula realizes she's got the Fata Morgana, so she's, no, I can't do this, because there was a thought, that maybe Karula might beat Alita even in her Imaginos body, So, yeah. What's this right here, Bad Man?
Yeah, I remember when computers were like that too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, now they're like 3 gigahertz now. A lot of them are, and you can overclock them from there.
Actually, I was just looking at an article on quantum computers here.
Yes.
Like one thing they had, 8 bits is enough for a classical computer to represent any number between 0 and 255.
Yeah.
But 8 quantum bits is enough for a quantum computer to represent every number between 0 and 255 all at the same time. Which means every bit is all those numbers all at once.
Yes.
It's like a whole bunch of really weird stuff going on in there.
Well, I'll tell you something, Bad Man. I used to have, you guys, I'm going to be dating myself a little bit here, but way back when I had an old TRS-80. Have you ever heard of that one?
I've heard of it. I'm not sure if I ever owned one. I had a Tandy Color Computer 2.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
That was my first gaming machine that I actually no, my first gaming machine was a Nintendo. My first gaming computer was the Color Computer 2.
Well, my first gaming machine, and pretty much my only one, I guess, was we had one of those consoles that played Pong. That's how far I go back, folks. But anyway, yeah, that.
Well, we would have had one, but we were too poor to own one for quite some time.
Well, I was, well, the only reason I got that one was because I was living with a girl that, she really wanted one real bad. So I said, all right, we'll buy one. So we'd play Pong sometimes, so, but yeah, that old Tandy, that old TRS-80, it was, I think it was like half a megahertz, kind of a processor and a CPU, but Bad Man, it only had 64K of memory, And I remember one of my college professors thought I was really great at doing IT stuff because I had a 10 megabyte drive hooked up to that
Mhm.
TRS-80. 10
10
megabytes of
whole megabytes.
yeah, man, you couldn't do anything with that
Oh, I
today.
remember a Commodore 64 was another common one.
Yes, yes, Commodore 64. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, I had a few neighbors that bought one of those for their kids.
yes. Sure was ahead of time thinking about technology, brain chips. Yeah, that's right, Sanity.
Mhm.
Man, yeah, yeah, Kashiro was really imaginative and a forward thinker. What isn't he? I mean, think about having conceiving a brain chip that could give someone self-awareness or sentience, and it processing data so fast that it enables her to react to things when she's moving at relativistic speed. I mean that's kind of amazing right there. Who would think of that, especially back in the 90s? Who would
Mm.
think of that stuff? So anyway, just a couple of things that I wanted to bring up here. Certainly, the whole now this I say this is one of my best moments, and it is. But the whole thing with her in Figure Four, I really like. And the reason for that is because with Hugo, Hugo was kind of, in my opinion, was kind of below her. I mean,
Mm.
Hugo, I mean, he was a tough guy. I mean, he wasn't well, in terms of physical strength, he was kind of a wimp, I think. But in terms of survivability,
Mhm.
he was pretty good. I mean, he's surviving in Iron City. If you can think of a hellscape that thing would be, a
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic world. And he knew how to survive. That's pretty amazing right there. But this guy, Figure Four, and I kind of like him because he's kind of big and strong. I like that in him. And but what did he kill, like 38 cyborgs or something like
Well,
that?
he took down. That's the thing. It never actually
He
said
didn't
he
kill all
killed
of them.
them.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't kill them all, but he beat 38 cyborgs, and he is a human. He's not
Yep.
a now he did, I think, AR-6 or what later became Zex did take off his arm, so he had
Yes.
to get he had to get a cybernetic arm, but
Hmm.
so which made him a cyborg, I guess.
Yeah.
But when he took down a lot of those cyborgs, he was a human. He was a meat boy. He wasn't a. And when he meets Alita, there you see on that train, he's a
Hmm.
meat boy. He's not a
Yeah.
cyborg. So, but I think she took a liking, somewhat of a liking to him, at least initially. Now, another thing I did like about their relationship here versus her relationship with Hugo. With Hugo, it was like she it was almost like she had some kind of unrequited love with him. I mean, she was trying to
Well,
get,
that's the manga Hugo.
yeah, Manga
That she
Hugo.
Hugo in the manga cared more about his dream of getting to
Zalem.
Jafaris than
Safaris, yeah, that's right.
any kind of relationship with Alita. But
But it,
the Hugo in the movie, he fell for her in return and was actually willing to give up his dream of going to Zalem, and then he got killed.
yeah. Well, he did. I think initially when he first meets her, when he picks her up, and said, "Oh, you're heavy," and I
Hmm.
say this every time I see that scene, I say, "You dumb,"
Yes, yes, yes.
every time.
Hmm.
But anyway, I think his initial feelings toward her was because he knew she was from Zalem, because when she said Ito found her in the scrapyard, it was like, well, that would mean that. Then of course
Yep.
Ito shows up and he doesn't finish his sentence.
Well, his very first impression of her was, "Oh, that body's going to be worth a lot."
Yeah, yeah, and
But then
but
after that, it was like, yeah, then it was like, "Oh, well, if you she might be from Zalem, so I need to
yeah.
find out what she knows."
I also think too, though, when he looked at her, he saw her face. This is my opinion. This is just me saying this.
Hmm.
It's like, whoa, wow, she's cute.
Hmm.
Just looking at her face. But yeah, I agree. He probably did think, oh man, I might. He probably didn't think about he probably did think rather about I could make a lot of money if I was a jacker. So he might have thought that subconsciously until he took her hand and said, "Who did Doc Ito do this?" And she said, "He built all of me." I think at that point in time, he said, "Okay, I can't do
Yeah, he
anything
wasn't going to mess
after
with
that."
Doc Ito stuff.
Yeah,
That
that's right.
seemed to be a thing that went around. That's like everybody in the neighborhood, and maybe even a
Yes.
little bit beyond it, knew you don't mess with Dr. Ito's work
Yeah, that's right.
for whatever reason. I have a feeling part of it might be that his being a hunter warrior might have had something to do with that, but it might have been some
Mhm.
other stuff figuring into that as well.
Mhm. Okay, Badman had a TRS-80 color computer. Mine wasn't a color computer, Badman. Mine was the original TRS-80 that had that. Oh God, the graphics on that thing was horrible. You know, an addressable point on the screen comprised of 6 pixels,
Mm,
so it looked like a little block. You know,
yep.
it was pretty rough. You know, I think they improved it a lot. You know, when they made the what they called it, the Tandy 10 was another one that was like
Mm.
that. So yeah, for sure.
$1,000 for a 1 MB hard drive.
Oh wow. Yeah, I bought a 10 megabyte hard drive and had to buy I had to buy like an interface. You know, that I would put. They had something called it was like a gray looking box thing that
Hmm.
you could put. You know, printed. You could put circuit boards in it and stuff like that.
And
And I
now
had to
it's
buy that and the circuit board to plug it in there. You know,
yeah,
expansion interface. That's what it was called. Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
yeah, it
now
was pretty.
it's like what, 40 years later, I think it's like $80 for a terabyte hard drive.
Yes. Yeah. Really
Mm. So
amazing.
that's an idea of just how much of advancement in technology and how much more affordable that highly advanced technology has become.
Yeah.
So imagine 200 years of that.
Yes. It's amazing.
Hmm.
But in terms of Alita and Figure Four, you know that when Alita met Hugo, it was kind of love at first sight and stuff
Hmm.
like this kind of stuff, you know, and it was like she was smitten immediately and stuff like
Yep.
this, you know. But when she meets Figure Four, it's not like that.
No,
I think she kind of took a liking to him, maybe, you know,
I
early.
didn't really get that impression necessarily. She was.
Well, I
It
don't mean
seemed like
she.
she was so disconnected from the rest of humanity at that point.
Yes,
She was just interested in this unusual individual, but she didn't really seem to
yeah,
have any
I guess
liking
that's a
towards
better
him.
way to put it. I don't think she disliked him, but yeah, I think you're right. It was probably that. Yeah, this guy's kind of interesting, but it wasn't like love at first sight like with Hugo.
Hmm.
That kind of evolved over time, you know. And
Yeah.
I think what got her attention was is when she fought him in the desert, and he kept getting up, no matter how bad she kicked the crap out of him. He kept getting up, you know, and
Hmm.
I think that got her attention, you know. So so it was a really funny scene. He looked like he looked like he had been through a war after he fought her. And, you know, it's like he tried to throw that palm strike at her, and she ducks it and hits him in the nose. You know, and she's so fast, you just hear him thinking, "Oh my God, she's fast."
Hmm.
It's really funny, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then of course that figure on the left there, that's from the Sonic Finger. That is, and that was one of my favorite one of those side stories. You know, it's not part of the timeline, I guess. I guess you could work it in there somewhere, you know, but it wasn't part of the original, you know, writing of the manga, I don't think. And they added it to the box set. They added it, you know.
Hmm.
But I really like that one, that whole story, because one of the things about it's neat. It's like she would go out for a run, you know, just like
Hmm.
human would, you know. And she now that's
Yeah.
I think that's where they got the idea in the movie for her jumping from rooftop to rooftop. You know that one.
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was running, you know, go across, and people would say hi, Alita, or something, and she'd say hi back, or something like that, as she was running across the roofs, you know. And then of course the Sonic Finger guy ricocheted one of those ball bearings or whatever it was off and hit her in the head or something like that. And of course, it didn't kill her, but he was trying to just get her attention, I guess,
Yeah.
But that whole story, I like that whole. That's my favorite side story of all the original manga, And then on the right, I really like the Zot. Some people don't like the Zot, but I really like the Zot. And one of the things I did like about it too is that Zex is her teammate, along with Elf and Swerf. They're her teammates as well, and Zazie. And at one point, I guess Zex, who was in the Fizzleroy body, and she's in the Imaginos body, 2.0 body when they start the Zot. Zex says that you and I are going to fight after this, and it's like for her, she said, "Okay." So I thought that was real funny, because he's going to get his butt handed to him if she's in an Imaginos body and he's in the Fizzleroy body, because she's going to have a speed advantage on him for one thing, But anyway, it's that whole thing about the Zod, I really liked that. In some regard, it was like Motorball, except she was playing for the survival of all the people in Iron City and Zalem, because I think the idea was they were going to just get rid of them or something, weren't they, Lee? I don't remember exactly, but I think
it's been a while, so I don't remember either.
Yeah, I think her team was the first I want to say non-company team. I don't know if that's exactly right, but it was the first team that was not a formal member of the the Zot tournaments or something like this. I'm not sure exactly what that was. See what Batman says about the Sonic Penguin as the main story. Yeah, that's right. Kind of a deleted scene. Yep, that's right. Yep, that's exactly right. So showing up, as they say down south here. The second okay, yeah, that's right. So anyway, and of course, the Creek really likes Cat Lita.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think their wings are really neat.
I do
really
too.
like
I think they're great, and of course, I like that tail as well. So but I say that every time, and I'm not going to say too much more about it because I get in trouble when I do. So, okay. Is there anything else, Lee? I mean, is there any other topic? Anybody want to come on? If you want to come on and bring up one of your own topics, there's the link. It's going to be in the chat right now. Here it is. You just click on that, and we could just have a quick little speak about something you love about Alita, if you want to do it.
Quick note: the picture on the right there.
Yeah.
One of my godsons got me a T-shirt that has that as an image on it for Christmas.
Cool.
Yeah, it's even got some original Japanese characters around it as well.
Yeah. Oh, did I send you a text, Lee, about I want to do a IMAX viewing on April the 20th?
I think you did, yeah.
Not 29th, April the 21st. I think it is something like that, or somewhere in that area. It doesn't have to be on the 21st. And I want to do it after tax day. I don't want to do it. Yeah, because you got to file your taxes, but. Because I can't remember if I sent anything on Discord. Sometimes I think I forget about Discord, and I have, I usually put things on Discord almost at the last minute because oh God, I forgot to put this on Discord, something like that, So anyway, well, I guess nobody's going to join us. Lee, any final thoughts here? Did we miss anything at all, or what?
Oh, we probably missed something, but I can't think of what it might have been because there's, quite a bit to cover. So.
Oh yeah, especially when you include the manga in it. There's you are gonna miss something. Like for instance, her bitch slapping Embody. Embody. I love that scene too.
For some reason, one scene that came up was she was fighting that guy who turned into a werewolf in the manga. He took some kind of drug that morphed his body and he turned into like a werewolf.
Yeah.
So Kashiro had a werewolf and a vampire in the manga.
Yes. Oh, and I love that. Karula is one of my favorite players or
Yeah, she's neat.
characters in it. She's, I mean, it's pretty cool. And she's really old too, isn't she? Was she 700 years old or something like that?
Something like that. I think 700 or a little bit over 700, somewhere around there.
Heck, she's older than the creek. So
Mhm.
So anyway, as you can see from that middle image right there, Alita does love her Uncle Creek. That's for sure. And that's because he wants sequels for his niece. And certainly we all want sequels for our niece. That's for sure. Or well, she's not your niece, she's my niece. But for our girl, we all want sequels for our girl. That's for sure. And here's our queen right here. This is Rosa Salazar, and she's in terms of being an actress, she is #1 in the Creeks book. That's for sure. What is this you're saying about Karula right here?
Born in 1808.
1808. Yes, cool. So let's think about this now for a second, because it's like, well, if we use the movie, but the manga is 100 years less than the movie. But if you use the movie 2563, she's going to be 755 years old. Karula is, and if you use the manga, it'd be 655 years. So yes, yep, she's old.
So she is several hundred years old. Yeah.
Yes, she is. But anyway, yeah, this is our queen. That's right, Finn. Yeah, Rosa is. Like I said, she's #1 in the Creeks book, Jack, in terms of being an actress. She's she's really, really good at what she does. She's a great actor. Also, any of you that have not seen A Million Miles Away, you need to watch that movie. It is really good. I really love Michael Pena in that movie too. He was really super. I love that guy. He's great.
I like him in a lot of his roles too.
Yeah, The Martian. He was in Ant-Man. He kind of played a comedic role in Ant-Man. Kind of a petty criminal, I guess, is what he was. Just kind of humorous kind of guy. But he is really an outstanding actor. And he and Rosa really complemented themselves very, very well. And there was a scene in A Million Miles Away where Rosa is working at a used car lot, and she's one of the people that works inside or something, and has to, when you buy a car, you got to go and fill out the paperwork and stuff like that. And maybe if you get a loan from the dealer and stuff, you got to go in there. And she's that person, sitting behind the desk, and he's kind of fumbling around. He's attracted to her, and he can't say anything and all that. And he kind of says something to her about maybe going out or something like that. And she kind of kids him a little bit, and she said, "Yes, I'll go out with you." But you have to come to my house and meet my parents. And I went, oh boy, this is going to go south. But it was really funny, that scene where he goes to pick her up. She comes outside, when he shows up, and she says, "Okay, please don't run away." It's really funny, because he goes in there, and these people are. It's almost like it's well, they're not batshit crazy, but you can imagine, going into to meet somebody's parent the very first time, if you're starting to date them and something like that, and she's got 2 big brothers, and it was kind of humorous, So anyway, I love that. Anyway, and I want to give a shout out to Elle Lamont and Jesse Fisher, because they were super duper as Screwhead. Of course, Elle was the actress that played Screwhead, and Jesse was the, she was the stunt person, and they brought Screwhead to life, and I know the Creek wants to see Screwhead come back in the Alita 2. I don't see Screwhead going to Alita 3 because it's going to be more of a motorball thing, although who knows, could be. But, it'd be neat to see Screwhead and Alita make up, and then they, team up on her team, or at least Screwhead's on her motorball team when they take on Joshigan, So
I was just going to mention, it looks like they changed the rules for motorball quite a bit between the manga and the movie, because the two have very different requirements for a win.
Yes, they do.
Not to mention, Motorball in the manga was a lot deadlier too.
Yes.
The movie version
Well,
actually had rules against brain death, so you
yeah.
couldn't kill a player. But in the manga, it happened all the time.
Yeah.
Hell, they were
Well,
even
they
taking
probably
out
had.
whole groups of the audience too at the time.
Yeah, I think so. Well, they probably had to tone it down too because if it's going to be PG-13 and they can't, well, I guess, I don't know, or they if they were killing people on the track, I guess right and left, it would probably be too dark or something. I guess, I don't know,
Mm.
But anyway, all three of these ladies are really good at what they do. Certainly Rosa knocked it out of the park with Alita, and she's
Yep.
knocked it out of the park in a lot of movies like Divergent,
Apparently, she also knocked it out of the park during the oh shoot, when
Undone.
she was doing the first crap. I can't remember what the word is. When she was auditioning, the
Ah,
audition.
yeah, yeah, she made Robert Rodriguez cry.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that. I was like,
Yeah,
that can't actually be true. Turns out it was.
yeah, yeah, because he confirmed that. I guess they were being interviewed or something like that, and he
Mm-hmm.
shook his head yes or something. And it was really pretty good. I mean that she could make such an impression on him. And
Mm-hmm.
of course Elle's real good too. She was in Salvage Marines. She was in from Dust Till Dawn, the series, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
I think she played a vampire in that thing. I
I
guess. I
think
don't.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Jesse is super duper as a stunt person. Elle said Jesse was the most badass stunt woman she ever worked with. So that's
Hmm.
high praise right there.
Yep.
So, but anyway, all three of these ladies are really good at what they do. And as I say every week, it sure don't hurt that they're pretty, because they are. So,
Yep.
anyway, okay, tomorrow, I guess I don't know who's going to be the host. I know I'm going to be the producer slash stream manager. I know that, but oh, this is wrong. This
Yeah, I
is
was about
not,
to say, is that we having
that was
another
last
birthday
week.
stream? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
the creek pulled the wrong. Yeah, I pulled the wrong thing in there. Let me see what. Let me pull up the guest sign up sheet. See what that one is. Well, not that one. Let's go over here. Just bear with me just a little bit here. I want to get this right because I blew it there. Let's see. There it is. Okay, and there's the show notes. Let's see here. Ah, yes. Battle Angel Blues. What are you doing to keep going while we campaign for sequels? That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Various ways to, keep interest up or, to stay engaged and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's not going to be an art stream. By the way, this art stream was really good last week. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of fun on that stream, and I think it was 3 hours. We had so much fun on it. It took 3 hours. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I had to leave partway through it for some other business to deal with.
yeah, I think yeah, yeah. I remember seeing you in the chat. So. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna see about what can you be doing, or what will you be doing, as we wait for that sequel to be greenlit. Because folks, I think it is going to happen. I mean, uh, the naysayers say, well, she only made $85 million domestically, and that's true. It is true.
Mm-hmm.
But she did gross over 400 million.
Yep.
Worldwide,
And there
404.
have been movies that have done a lot worse than that financially, and they still got sequels.
Yeah, exactly. And I think their Blu-ray and DVD sales are like 113 million or something like that. So she's made over half in terms of the movie itself and the Blu-ray slash CD sale, or I'm sorry, DVD, not CD. DVD sales are over $500 million. So I mean, and it was really not very well marketed the first time. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so this time Disney has 178,000 marketing people that
Mm-hmm.
we're all going to market for, and start doing tweets and stuff like that for, So anyway,
They have a widespread and willing marketing network
yes.
waiting to go.
Well, that's one of the things about movies. One of the strongest ways movies get sold, to audiences is by word of mouth. I mean, certainly you can promote the heck out of it, for sure. And if you do a bad job of promotion, of course, the movie's not going to go anywhere. But if you got a good word of mouth, it's got a good chance of succeeding. And of course, with 178,000 Alita Army members or people who have signed the petition and all that stuff, and I am so sure we are going to overload social media. And the creek is going to get drunk when this happens. I don't do that. I don't think I've been drunk since 2009, something like that. Anyway, so it's been a while, since I've had. I have had some hard liquor, but I don't drink as a general rule. It's a little power and stuff like that. But anyway, that's. I'm getting off rails here again, I guess. So, okay, Lee, any last thoughts at all?
Nothing really pops into my head.
Cool. All right. Well, why is this image here? Well, that image is there because I like it, and I am running the stream. I am the producer, so that's what happens there. And to paraphrase Gruwishka, I'm only here for our girl. And of course, and the Alita Army, and we are all here for our girl. So we want those sequels, Disney. You hear us? Damn it, we want those sequels. And we're going to get them eventually. So that only leaves us with one thing left to do, and that is the call to action. And that would be on my count of 3, and that'd be 1, 2, 3.
Film those sequels, baby.
So we will catch you tomorrow on Radio Chaos and next week on the Alita Livestream. Bye.
Take care, everybody.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita Livestream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.